I started to be involved in this school 29 years ago as a parent, and then a year later began teaching.
Plumas Christian School offers something that no other school that I've ever worked at offers in regards to the commitment towards the student, the familial environment, the quality of the education the students are provided, just the depth and level of caring and the level of excellence that my children are offered are very, very high.
I get the best job ever. I get to teach them to love music, which is quite biblical, and to develop that discipline of practice and working hard through both band and doing a school musical.
It was a really important time for me in my own spiritual growth personally.
I came to Plumas Christian after 20 years in the public system. I put my kids here because I wanted a very structured program. There were a lot of pull-out programs that were out there, computer music and all that, and I wanted my kids to have a very strong foundation.
I've not been here as long as many of the other teachers on the staff, but anyone you talk to would have the utmost respect for our staff and what has occurred here at the school, what's transpired over the years and years of service.
Having had one child in a public school situation, one here, I would say there is a more consistent work ethic here.
I discovered through working here that for the first time in my teaching career I was able to educate the whole child.
They're not just looking at a child as a student academically and a grade. They're looking at every child as their family, their relationship with God. How are they doing physically? How are they doing spiritually? How are they doing emotionally? How are they doing academically?
I mean, we've got kids in wrestling, we've got kids in drama, we've got kids in basketball, the swim team, big time. And so it's not like our kids are totally cut off from the world and we don't want anything to do with them. We have the upper graders going to the science camp, and I think that is excellent because, again, they're kids that they know, that are in their neighborhoods and stuff, and they're learning with them at the same time.
The student-teacher ratio is incredible, and no one can fall through the cracks.
It seems that when they go to other schools, they're usually in the top of their class, most of them, and the ones that have gone on to universities or colleges tend to do well as well.
One thing I have heard, I used to hear it more when we had high school students, was employers saying, yeah, they always picked the kids that went to the Christian school because they knew they were reliable and trustworthy and honest and hard workers. Which I thought, wow, we are a light in the community because they know us. You know.
It's fun to go, oh, look at all the ones that started at Plumas Christian School. So as a teacher, I'm pretty proud of them, and fun to see. I think those are strong leaders in the band world too.
Again, I think the most typical comment is this is like a family. It's just so very, very different.
When I was going to public school, I always wished I could go here. I went to a Christian college and I loved just being able to be a Christian.
I think it's just establishes a strong foundation for them to be able to build the rest of their lives on.
I feel this school did everything that I expected when I put them here.
I can't even imagine all that God uses in children's lives, because there is, like you say, there's just, first of all, the family atmosphere, and then the small class size. Kids know that we care about them and love them, which is unique.
I also get to teach Bible, and I love to teach those kids to love God's Word, and it is such an encouragement to me, and I think just watch children love Jesus. And one of my favorite comments last week, someone said, I keep thinking it's my favorite chapter, but then we read another one. And I thought, wow, their enthusiasm for God's Word, it's just, it isn't the big career. It's it's this wonderful core of kids who love Jesus, and because you can talk to them, and I think if I ever end up teaching in a public setting, I would really miss that. You know, I did for a little bit. I taught at a charter school, and I missed. There's just not that connection, and everything, we are created to love God, and so therefore everything relates to loving God. And if you can't do that, you bite your tongue a lot.
I wanted them to know, above all else, who their creator was. I think that's my biggest job as a parent. And so once I knew that they had that, then I knew that the second best thing was the structure of the programs.
I have seen a lot of kids accept the Lord, and I have, whether it's in my class or during kindergarten, and I didn't even know it, you know, that they will say, oh yeah, I accepted the Lord in kindergarten. It's like, wow, I'm really glad you did. If
you're interested in supporting the Lord's work, that you couldn't do much better than helping this mission. This truly is a mission.
And that's where I'll cry. No. Yeah, it's unique. There's nothing like it in the community. Parents who want their kids to have Christian education have the choice of either homeschooling themselves, which only certain people can do, or they may be having to work, or they just don't know how to do that adequately. This is the only Christian school in this area.
So if we don't, I think we're gonna just, it makes it very hard to not raise mediocre Christians or Sunday school Christians. And it puts a great deal of pressure on families, and I know I've got 5 children, so we live in a world where we all don't go home and sit around the table and read the Bible every night because we're in sports and activities and all these things, and as much as we try to do that, life is busy and crazy, and I just think in today's society it's really important for kids to have a foundation.
So yeah, if it was not here, it'd be like having a light go out. So yeah, it's an opportunity for people to be involved in a way for eternity for kids in ways that we can't even imagine. There's nothing that's going to replace it if it's not here.
I would say I wish you could look in the eyes of these kids and to know that they're just kids. That would be a difference I've taught at other private schools where the kids are here because their parents have money, and these kids are here because their parents want them to love Jesus. And look at the lives of these kids, and I wish you could see, you know, the struggles that some of these families face, the struggles that these children have faced, and that they are getting to be in this environment where they are surrounded by God's love, where they are pointed to God, and where everything is dealt with in that way. Probably less of support the school, but look at these kids and look at the lives that are being changed, and you are changing a life, not a school.
You were in my first class, so it's pretty neat that you're sitting here
I have some
making
pretty
this.
great memories of it.
Yeah, like